Hello and welcome to the news at 10 on Nta News24. We are live in Abuja. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. Federal government unveils Nutrition 774 initiative seeks support to combat malnutrition. World Trade Organization calls for suspension of European Union regulations on deforestation and agricultural produce ban. Senate urges federal government to come up with a comprehensive plan to prevent flooding. Lawmakers advocate use of technology and financial intelligence to crack down on criminal syndicates in the country. The State House management is hoping to set the pace in implementation of innovative measures to enhance efficiency as it is set to achieve full digitalization of its operations by next month, November 2024. The Permanent Secretary, State House Olufunso Adebiyi, disclosed this during an oversight visit by the House of Representatives Committee in Special Duties to the data center located within the vicinity of the presidential villa. Adebiyi believed the completion of the computerization and digitalization process would enhance efficiency, security, and seamless operation of critical administrative functions at the State House. In a statement, Director, State House Information and Public Relations, Abiodun Oladunjoye, indicated that the visit led by the House Committee Chairman on Special Duties, Kabir Tukura, was part of the legislator's statutory oversight to assess the performance of the 2023 and 2024 budgets of the State House. The Permanent Secretary also briefed the lawmakers on ongoing renovations at the Dan Barracks, Lagos, the former seat of government. He pointed out that the renovations are expected to be completed before the end of the year. He invited the legislators for an on-the-spot assessment of the barracks with funds for the project and others at the Lagos Liaison Office sourced from the 2023 supplementary budget and 2024 budget respectively. Honorable Tukura expressed satisfaction with the ongoing digital transformation and commended State House for its commitment to budgetary discipline and modernizing government services. The federal government has unveiled Nutrition 774 initiative, a framework for comprehensive vision for a nationwide nutrition program to address malnutrition and food insecurity in Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima, during a roundtable with development partners at the presidential villa, said the initiative aligns with President Tinubu's administration's broader focus on food security and availability across the country. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
A presidential commitment with a dual mandate to ensure food availability and reduce malnutrition. The 144th meeting of the National Economic Council had in September endorsed the Nutrition 774 program as a primary platform for combating malnutrition within Nigerian communities. The council encouraged development partners to provide financial and technical assistance to support this initiative. And at this roundtable with development partners, Vice President Kashim Shettima urged them to support the proposed initiative, recognizing the crucial role of collaboration in addressing the nation's nutritional challenges.
The N774 initiative is a very, very focused, multi-sectoral approach towards alleviating our challenges. The President is irrevocably, firmly committed to this initiative. The political will is there, and we'll play our own part well. The whole fulcrum is on mobilization of resources and technical assistance and capacity building. The blind cannot lead the blind. We have to enhance the capacity of our personnel at the local government level.
The Nutrition 774 initiative adopts a grassroots-driven approach, empowering local actors to take charge of nutritional improvements in their communities, as well as invest in local capacity through the training of health workers and community leaders. Development partners present at the meeting pledged their support for the nutrition program, commending the federal government for the initiative, even as they underscored its commitment towards scaling up nutrition across the country.
Nta 774 recognizes the good work of the Supreme Court to really devolve power and control to the LGA level, and it is at that level where we believe we'll have the greatest impact to address malnutrition and to ensure the health and well-being of Nigerians.
This aligns very well with global evidence that shows that you need a combination of health, nutrition, interventions, water and sanitation, and agriculture education, all these packages targeted to the household at the community level to be able to make a significant needle on improving food security and reducing malnutrition.
The crisis of malnutrition caused by natural disasters, among other challenges, will require bold leadership in the humanitarian assistance space, aligning with the values and objectives outlined in the Nutrition 774 initiative. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, Nta News.
Nigeria has joined Latin American nations, India and the World Trade Organization in calling for the suspension of EU regulations on deforestation and agricultural produce ban. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari stated this while inaugurating the National Task Force on European Union Deforestation Regulation. The EU emphasized that any company intending to penetrate their market or exports will ensure that the produce or product is not from deforestation areas. The committee inaugurated by the minister is to ensure that Nigeria is not sidelined at the European market.
The terms of reference of National Task Force includes the following. 1. Coordination on relevant stakeholders towards having a national approach on EU DR. 2. Design, implementation and funding strategy for National Task Force on EU DR. 3. Review and adopt state plan for nationwide implementation. 4. Drive a sustainable advocacy and sensitization program on EU DR.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate the 2024 Global Hand Washing Day, the Minister of Water Resources says hand washing remains the panacea to curb the spread of deadly communicable diseases in the country. He stated this at a press briefing to mark the day in Abuja. Usman Zubairu reports.
This is how the Global Hand Washing Day was observed this year, with government officials and stakeholders in the water and sanitation sector taking the campaign to the Garki Market in Abuja to create more awareness for members of the public. Global hand washing is observed annually to raise awareness on the importance of using soap for hand washing to lessen the burden of numerous diseases that pose a threat to development of population health. This year's themes reflects an important question: why are clean hands still important? It is because it is a key to reducing the burden of many diseases, and it contributes to preventing and mitigating the transmission of diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, and neglected tropical diseases. In commemoration of the day, the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation tasked stakeholders in the sanitation sector to build on the gains made in the recent years by working together to ensure that hand washing facilities are present in their residence, office, schools, healthcare facilities, and other public places.
It is considered as an affordable, accessible, do-it-yourself vaccine for sanitation and hygiene-related diseases like diarrhea, cholera, typhoid fever, pneumonia, which are prevalent in our communities.
Today, we are raising your awareness again to continue to do more so that our country will be much healthier.
The theme for this year clearly indicates the urgency and the need multi-stakeholders collaboration to promote hand hygiene and make it an integral part of the country's national life at all times. Smusberu, Nta News.
Senate wants the federal government to have a place in a comprehensive action plan to tackle recurring flood disaster in Nigeria. The legislators commended President Bola Tinubu for setting up the Disaster Relief Fund and called for allocation in the 2025 budget for the dredging of rivers Benue and Niger as a preventive measure against flood. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports. And meanwhile, the National Council on Climate Change and the World Bank are conducting an assessment of the current institution of flood, other disasters, drought, risk policies and management in order to effectively prepare, prevent and protect the population from future occurrences and damages. Charles Alpha reports.
The 2012, 2019, 2022 and the most recent damages caused in Borno State and parts of the country this year occasioned this technical workshop on flood and drought risk management for climate resilience by the Nigerian government, with the National Council on Climate Change serving as the secretariat and the World Bank providing technical expertise under the World Bank's EPIC response framework, which is the Enable, Plan, Invest and Control response.
We need to engage other sectors. So we should have a more collaborative approach for flood and drought risk management. This is a message.
Director General National Council on Climate Change, Nkiruka Maduekwe, and the Special Advisor to the President on National Economic Council and Climate Change, Rukaya El-Rufai, were convinced that disaster risk reduction efforts by the government are closely linked to the Sustainable Development Goals for communities to thrive and foster climate resilience. Stakeholders here think early warning is not a problem for Nigeria, but what seems to be the problem is early coordinated action.
There's a wide span of ecosystem and stakeholders involved in disaster management, not even the action, but from the prevention to the mitigation to the adaptation.
It is expected that at the end of the workshop, participants would have assessed the existing gaps, defining the scope of support available by building local capacities to achieve a climate resilience. Charles Alpha, Nta News.
Still on flood alert, a recent update from the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, reveals that Jebba Dam is currently spilling excess waters regulated by Kainji Dam operators, who had kept 53-centimeter buffer until now to allow for any change in inflow. Director General National Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, Umar Ibrahim Mohammed, stated that the agency is working in collaboration with operators of Kainji and Jebba dams on the management of the reservoirs. The agency also monitored that while the rain is gradually shifting to the south, some amount of water is still flowing into Nigeria from Jidiri, Bode and Kende Station. Reaffirming the agency's commitment to the overall flood management in Nigeria, NISA appealed to the public to continue adhering to flood preparedness protocols. This is the news at 10 and Nta News24. Let's take a break now. More reports when we return.
My administration took over leadership of our country 16 months ago at a critical juncture. The economy faced many headwinds and our physical security highly impaired. We found ourselves at a distant crossroad where we must choose between two paths: reform for progress and prosperity, or carry on the business as usual and collapse. We decided to reform our political economy and defense architecture.
Thanks for being there. The House of Representatives is calling on the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy to work closely with security agencies to track ransom payments to bandits. Lawmakers at Tuesday's plenary say there is a compelling need to deploy technology and financial intelligence to crack down on criminal syndicates in the country. National Assembly correspondent Nta News24 reports on these and other resolutions of the House.
The spate of bandit attacks in Katsina State is once again raised as a motion of urgent public importance. The lawmakers want the security agencies to do more in tracking the bandits and bringing them to justice.
The situation has deteriorated to the point where bandits now often provide bank accounts for ransom payment to be made for kidnapped victims. Urge the security agencies to block such channels of communication and financial transaction used by the criminals.
This motion is referred to the Committees on Defense, Army, Police and National Security for further legislative action.
The House believes the loss of biodiversity in Nigeria's ecosystems can be addressed through deliberate climate change policies.
Incentivize MDAs to adopt sustainable practices by A. Ensuring MDAs with carbon credit potentials are given additional funding over their budget envelopes in the next year, starting from 2020.
In other resolutions, the House asked the federal government to review the budgetary allocation of the National Orientation Agency, which they say is grossly underfunded.
There is definitely an urgent need to implement measures for effective reorientation of citizens to curb vices, reorient the people and encourage growth.
2 establishment bills passed second reading.
Bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education Oyin Akoko.
That this bill for the establishment of the Federal Institute for Vision and Optical Research in Nigeria at Erema, Oba Igbema local government area be read for the second time.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Environment has commenced investigation into the environmental impact of oil spills in some Niger Delta communities, with a view to restoring the livelihoods of the people and ensuring that oil companies conform to environmental standards. From the National Assembly, Nta News24, Nta News.
Director General National Emergency Management Agency, Nema Zubaida Umar, says communities resident in flood-prone areas must desist from the blockage of drainages and other waterways to avoid becoming victims of flooding at all times. The DG Nema stated this while on an on-the-spot assessment of flood-ravaged areas in Ondo Town. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
Arrival at Akure Airport, the DG Nema, Zubaida Umar, met with the Ondo State Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, where she extended her sympathy to the government and people of the state over the devastating floods that ravaged the affected communities. She told the governor that she was physically on ground to assess the extent of damage for possible assistance to the victims. Ondo State Governor Lucky Orimisan thanked the DG Nema for the show of solidarity to the government and people of the state at this moment of devastation. He said the state government has directed immediate evacuation of blocked drainages and waterways to avert reoccurrence of such ugly scenario. The DG Nema, accompanied by the State Deputy Governor Owolabi Adelami, inspected some of the affected areas.
And we are putting heads together, we are having some discussion. There will be need for inter-government agency, to intervene.
And this brings home the fact that we need to do much more as people in terms of clearing waterways and also avoiding building on waterways. Having said that, we've seen it, we've done a rapid assessment, and we're going to go back and see how we can collaborate with other agencies to see how we can assist further.
Although the flooded waters has receded completely in most of the affected areas, the victims are still counting their losses. The entourage also paid a royal visit to the paramount ruler of Ondo Kingdom. From Ondo, Ilyasu Yakubu, Nta News.
Paying requisite attention to early child education is a strategic means of shaping the life of the child towards achieving a formidable future not only for the individual but the nation as a whole. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu stated this while participating at a high-level forum of women leaders in Bujumbura, Burundi. State House correspondent Nta News24 reports.
Investing in early childhood to build human capital throughout life as the central theme, there is no doubt that African First Ladies are serious about shining the light on the formative years, which they believe are critical to shaping outcomes of life. Joining voices with other First Ladies, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu says the role of women in nurturing the child is an important one, especially at the early stage of life. While applauding the focus of the meeting, the First Lady encouraged her peers to take up the challenge of promoting early childhood education, leveraging the influence of their office.
We hold a unique position of influence, and with that comes the responsibility to shape policies that impact generations. Our roles are complementary and supportive. We cannot really say we want to make policies. So our roles as their wives is to make sure that we really have the right influence, the visibility to bring succor and help to the underprivileged. As women leaders and mothers of the nation, we have the ability to advocate for influence and lead social change, particularly for women and children.
President of the Republic of Burundi, Evariste Ndayishimiye, declared the forum open, noting that the family remains an integral factor in child outcomes in life and urged both parents to take the task more seriously. The forum, through other speakers, also highlighted school feeding and peace in the region as major factors necessary to promote early child education. This is the 5th edition of the Forum of Women Leaders to be held in Bujumbura, Burundi. Nta News.
The Transparency and Integrity Index by the Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity reveals an improvement in the 2024 Transparency and Integrity Evaluation of Public Institutions in Nigeria. Deborah Agbola reports that in spite of this improvement, the center says more needs to be done for effective governance in the country.
With the 4th presentation of the Transparency and Integrity Index Evaluation, Center for Fiscal Transparency and Public Integrity, established in 2016, says transparency enhances accountability, deters corrupt behavior, and also fosters integrity in public institutions. Working in collaboration with the Bureau of Public Service Reform and evaluating 541 public institutions in the year 2024, the center encourages institutions to ensure timely dissemination of unclassified service information and maximize the use of ICT.
The work we are doing is not it's something that will help the country to move forward. Transparency and integrity. These are the most important tools to fight corruption.
Our guiding principles, while the control are working, is we got guiding principles internationally and nationally. From the international angle, of course, we have the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. From Article 5 down to 63, there are articles there that every country is supposed to implement regarding prevention, regarding control of corruption, regarding procurement, on every strata of public service that you can think of.
Contributors call for upliftment of ethical working environment, open transactions at all levels, and also enhanced active participation of citizens in asking right questions.
Government alone cannot achieve this feat. This is why we commend the initiatives by our development partners for engaging with us and supporting us to make our society thrive.
The center, saddled with the mandate of ensuring promotion of good governance, also design and implement programs and interventions in organized crime prevention, anti-corruption, and data science, among others. Deborah Agbola, Nta News.
The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, is to complement the ongoing drive against insecurity through collaboration and training of defense correspondents and effective reportage of internal security operations. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports the Vice Chairman of BON, Tony Akeotu, stated this while on a courtesy visit to the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru Al-Bakar, at the Ship House, Abuja.
They are the members of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, in the Ministry of Defense, the administrative arm of the military. They are the umbrella body of the electronic media outfits in Nigeria, and their mission is to seek collaboration with the Ministry of Defense. Top on their request list is improving training of defense correspondents on non-kinetic approaches and to accord adequate publicity to the efforts of the armed forces towards achieving a secured nation.
This visit is to seek collaboration and partnership with the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces on intense training and capacity building for the broadcast media practitioners in the area of quality news coverage, reporting, and quality information dissemination through daily programming on the various broadcast outlets in the country.
Nigeria is all ours, and we have to work together to rid this country of these security challenges. And the media really play a very key function in doing that. You have noticed the improvements that we have gotten in the last 1 year on security, and this is really very important. We are doing our best here, and the President has been very, very supportive.
BON enjoin Nigerians to see the ongoing internal security operations as a collective responsibility by providing timely information to security agencies. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, Nta News.
Another break beckons. The news continues shortly.
The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation, we must never lose sight of how far we have come in forging and holding our country together.
Glad to know you're still there. Imperative of a national transport policy, professionalism and effective coordination of critical key players in the transport ecosystem dominates conversation at the annual general meeting of the Chartered Institute of Transport and Logistics taking place in Abuja. Transport correspondent Ladibala reports that the Director General of NTA, Saliu Abdul Hamid Dembos, and other eminent Nigerians were honored as Chartered Fellows during the conference.
This year's conference with the theme, Transforming Nigeria's Transport and Logistics System for Development, attracted over 200 delegates comprising both government officials and industry experts from the private sector to brainstorm and share strategies on ways to revitalize Nigeria's transport and logistics sector.
Despite the pivotal role transport and logistics play in keeping economics running, providing employment and supporting social infrastructure, the profession is not where we want it to be.
The candid contributions of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport to the attainment of Nigeria's sustainable development objective is immeasurable.
My presentation, I hope to be able to demonstrate the consequences to Nigeria of the absence of a national transport policy supported by legislation.
The first female president of the Chartered Institute of Transport and Logistics in Nigeria charged key players to leverage the vast opportunities to transform the sector.
Attaining a coordinated, collaborative, integrated transport system is a shared responsibility of all the ministries in charge of transport subsectors and citizens working together.
Other speakers emphasized the need for innovative solutions, infrastructural development, and policy reforms.
First and foremost, we can't transform the industry in its totality at the same time, but we can take niche by niche.
When we have the national transport policy, that the states will be able to have their own policy.
The Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, who was represented by the General Manager, Nta International, Ogonya Simon, was conferred with the honor of Chartered Fellow of the Institute for his exemplary leadership, together with other personalities who have contributed to the transportation and logistics industry. In Abuja, Ladibala, NTA News.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has approved the appointment of Air Commodore Olushola Akimboewa as the Director of Public Relations and Information (DOPRI) for the Nigerian Air Force. Our defense correspondent reports that Air Marshal Abubakar also approved the redeployment of erstwhile DOPRI Air Vice Marshal Edward Gapquet to the newly established NAF Civil Military Relations Branch as Director of Coordination and Cooperation. As the outgoing director, a seasoned officer known for his unwavering dedication approached the podium, the weight of his experience was palpable. He spoke passionately about the importance of transparency and the role of effective communication in shaping public perception. Their duty, he re-echoes, goes beyond military powers. It lies in building trust and understanding with the citizens they serve. He turned to his successor, a dynamic officer recognized for his innovative approaches and commitment to professionalism. With a firm handshake, he passed him the mantle, a symbolic representation of the Directorate's mission.
And I strongly believe that the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, couldn't have picked a better senior officer to continue to project the image of the Nigerian Air Force.
As the new director accepted these, his eyes shone with determination, with a vow to enhance the Nigerian Air Force efforts in disseminating information, ensuring that every achievement and challenges is communicated with professionalism. The audience erupted in applause, recognizing the significance of this transition. With the task ahead, he envisions a future where the Nigerian Air Force will be seen as not only a formidable military force, but also as a transparent entity, fostering public engagement and trust. This moment marked not just a change in leadership, but a renewed commitment to uphold the values of professionalism and openness.
Without your support, without your cooperation, the successes would not have been possible. And so I want to use this opportunity to solicit that that same support, that same partnership, that same synergy should continue.
As the ceremony concluded, the air was charged with hope and a shared vision for the road ahead, one where every voice within the Air Force echoed a story of honor, resilience and pride. Olajide Bello, NTA News. The federal government has budgeted 50 billion naira to support the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises and to disburse conditional cash transfer of 25,000 naira to 15 million Nigerians for 60 months. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Abiodun Esiet, said this during a high-level community engagement in Abuja South, where stakeholders were sensitized on the benefits of the renewed hope agenda. The SSA said President Tinubu's presidency has prioritized the needs of Nigerians in areas of social infrastructure and security, human capacity development, and urged them to participate freely, active in the process of governance and oversight community-oriented projects.
Here to translate into changes in policy and laws, and we're also looking at infrastructural problems that has to do with federal government interventions. We are looking at also humanitarian services that has to do with federal government intervention. We know this is the flooding time and flooding period. We're also using the same moment to also sensitize our people about issues about flooding.
Implementation agency, traditional rulers and relevant stakeholders underscored activities of government and appealed for inclusion in driving policies and programs aimed at improving livelihoods and changing the narrative of rural and urban settlement.
We believe that in a very short time, everybody will be satisfied.
This policy is aimed to redirect funds previously used for subsidies towards critical sectors.
The initiative is driven by the Office of the SSA to the President and Community Engagement in North Central as a platform in understanding federal government's policy reforms and programs. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has reviewed its performance in recent and confident that the party is well positioned to win future elections. This was at a conference by its leaders in Abuja tagged Fix Our Party to Fix Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Some members of the Board of Trustees, National Working Committee, present and past National Assembly members, elders, leaders and members of the PDP gathered here at Yaradua Center, Abuja. Putting aside all differences and working together dominated discussion.
If you look at all the states where we lost election in 2023 and even the Edo 2024, it was because of arrogance, oversabi. That's what put us where we are.
Many of the people came and joined us. Those who are now playing God were nowhere.
And that is why some of us are very, very concerned with what is happening to our party.
Panel discussions centered on promoting internal democracy in the party and the role of opposition in democracy.
PDP has a constitution. How many times has that constitution been thrown into abyss?
Fix PDP to fix Nigeria. Very fantastic. But before you fix PDP, you have to fix everything that is internal. And that starts with issue of leadership struggle. You can't wave it aside. And let me tell you, as long as we don't resolve these issues, the people out there are just laughing at us.
Representative Ikenga Ugochinyere emphasized that the PDP National Working Committee, led by Umar Damagum, is not adding up to the party and therefore requested them to do only the things that would make PDP a truly people's party. Timothy Yusuf, Nta News.
River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has expressed dismay over the actions of some yet-to-be-identified persons involved in the burning of some local government secretariats in the state. Governor Fubara, who condemned such level of violence and disregard for government infrastructure, was speaking when he inspected the extent of damage at Ikwere Local Government Council Secretariat Isopo. Osinachi Samuel has details.
Governor Siminalayi Fubara's visit to the burnt Ikwere Local Government Secretariat by a group of suspected political thugs left him wondering why people would go to such extent just to prove a needless point. He said such politically motivated destruction was unwarranted as the facilities being destroyed were built with taxpayers' money. He expressed sadness over the incident at the council and a few others and called for an end to further destruction.
It's an act of irresponsibility. Even if one advises you to go and destroy a government facility, you would think twice. Play your politics with a sense of responsibility. We don't need to kill ourselves. But I leave all to the security agencies to do a thorough work and let us know the people that are behind this arson.
The governor regrets that funds that would have been deployed to develop the councils will now be used to rehabilitate the structures at the detriment of the people's welfare, advising on the need to act responsibly, irrespective of the level of provocation. From Isiopo in Ikwere Local Government Area of River State, Osinachi Samuel, Nta News.
Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa Musawa, has officially flagged off the 2024 Zuma International Film Festival. Gufan Shaji Ugwai reports that the festival promises to celebrate Nigeria's vibrant film industry with over 3,120 film submissions from around the world. This year's edition, themed Digital Renaissance, Embracing the Future, will explore the transformative power of digital technology in filmmaking.
Nigeria's film industry is set to shine at the 2024 Zuma International Film Festival, a platform converging filmmakers, professionals, investors, policymakers, and entrepreneurs. Minister of Art, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa Musawa, expressed optimism that the festival will promote sustainable growth, job creation, and investment promotion.
No major filmmaking country exists without an internationally renowned top-tier film festival. For this reason, we are committed to investing in Zuma to ensure that it presents the highest level of excellence in film and leads the charge to cementing Nigeria as a critical filmmaking destination.
This festival is not just a showcase of cinematic creativity. It is a vibrant platform that builds collaboration, inspiration, and cultural exchange.
People look at Nigeria as the second largest when it comes to production, but I have to tell you the truth that it's not just about quantity. Nigerians are beginning to produce quality films, and this kind of platforms are the platforms where you get to see such kind of quality films.
The Nigerian Film Corporation unveiled the new logo for the Zuma Film Festival, symbolizing its growth and commitment to excellence. The event will feature an annual film lecture by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, sessions on artificial intelligence in filmmaking, film trade, and finance forums in Abuja. Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, Nta News.
The constituted 18-member National Youth Service Corps NYSC Reforms Committee has submitted a 31-page draft document report to the Minister of Youth Development. Olayinka Ojo reports that the chairman of the committee, Kabiru Yekunle, while presenting the report, said the reforms are centered on how to make the NYSC more viable.
Most of our recommendations are centered on how to make the NYSC self-sufficient and sustainable, with a major focus on strengthening its ventures to be more efficient, profitable, while also providing a platform for training corps members.
Report Minister of Youth Development, Jamila Ibrahim, said besides ensuring national unity, social integration and empowerment, the reforms are expected to serve as a guide for the future. She noted that the scheme will make the NYSC more socially and economically impactful.
We must evolve to meet the challenges and opportunities of our time. This report reflects not only the assessment of the current state of the scheme, but also has made concrete recommendations for its improvement, working closely with all stakeholders to implement sustainable reforms that will further strengthen the NYSC in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Following the successful launch of 2,000 compressed natural gas tricycles on the 1st of October, the federal government has launched a portal that would ensure youth not only benefit but also participate in developing the CNG project. Minister of State for Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, stated this in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo reports.
The initiative, expected to create millions of jobs, is in line with federal government's promise to ensure equal access to government programs and projects, as well as transparency and fairness.
I therefore use this opportunity to call on all youth who works within the commercial transportation sector. For those who have interest in joining the sector, to enlist.
We are also saving the nation in terms of the cost that is typically spent on subsidy on petrol.
President, National Commercial Tricycle and Motorcycle Owners and Riders Association, Sani Hassan, assured the minister of the association's commitment to mobilize members to achieve the mandate.
We will also do our best to make sure the CNG tricycle given to our members will make very good use of it, and to make sure prompt and successful repayment of the tricycle, because it's not given to us free of charge. We have to pay it back.
The portal has two websites: Olainka Ujo, Nta News.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, has charged staff of the ministry to embrace speed, efficiency and results while handling tasks in their various offices. The minister gave the charge at an engagement with the ministry's Reform Coordination and Service Improvement Department under the Servicom ministerial character. Francis Udojo has the details.
The minister's engagement with the ministry's Servicom unit provided an opportunity for top management officers and the staff to take stock of actions taken so far by the unit in ensuring effective service delivery to the internal and external public. Dangiwa further encouraged the staff to be result-oriented while assuring them that the ministry will continue to prioritize citizens' needs and feedback in providing affordable housing for all Nigerians, tagging the ministry's Servicom action plan for this year as above and beyond. The minister believes it has provided a moment of reflection as the ministry works towards the delivery of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This, the minister said, has reflected on the ongoing construction of 6,612 housing units across 13 states of the Federation, including FCT.
Mr. President is implementing long overdue reforms that are necessary to reset the country's economy on the path of sustainable growth and development. We therefore do not have the benefit of time to deliver. We must work extra harder towards ensuring that Nigerians feel the positive impact that the renewed hope agenda is delivering.
The National Coordinator and Chief Executive Officer of Servicom, Mrs. Unnenna Akajameli, while presenting the Servicom Ambassadors Award to the Minister and selected management and staff, informed that the gesture is to appreciate, encourage and reward employees of government and private to do more.
How will we achieve the renewed hope of Mr. President? It is when services truly serve the citizens, truly serve stakeholders.
It's therefore important for every service provider to deliver effective service.
The engagement with the minister also featured talks on service delivery, health, as well as security tips. Francis Udojo, Nta News.
This is the news at 10 on Nta News24. Here are the major highlights of the news. Federal government unveils Nutrition 774 initiative seeks support to combat malnutrition. World Trade Organization calls for suspension of European Union regulations on deforestation and agricultural produce ban. Senate urges federal government to come up with comprehensive plan to prevent flooding. Lawmakers advocate use of technology and financial intelligence to crack down on criminal syndicates in the country.
This is NTA News 24.
Federal Republic of Nigeria has expressed concern over the attack on the residence of the United Arab Emirates UAE ambassador in Khartoum on Sunday, 22nd September 2024. A statement by a spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, H.A. Abu, calls on the Sudanese authorities to take necessary measures to forestall occurrence and guarantee the safety and welfare of embassy staff and their families. Nigeria also calls on other relevant stakeholders to seek an amicable and peaceful resolution on the ongoing conflicts in order to return normalcy to the country. And that concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Olajide Bello.